Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
Online dating. I met this girl online. Online dating. I met this girl online. Clicked and fell into this mix.
Hey, welcome back to the Larry Yates Show. I'm back in the house here. I've been away for a little while. Thank you guys for keeping up with me, sending me some text messages and emails and stuff. And some of you guys have been incredibly mean to me, but I accept it. I love it. I like the fact that you're mean to me. See, I can take punishment. I got to learn to take punishment. We got a great show today. And let me just start off by thanking Miss Carolyn Wilkins for holding the show together. Without her, we wouldn't be doing this. We couldn't keep this together, but we'll do the introduction in a few minutes. I just want to start out with that. Anyway, I know that you guys have been keeping up with the news because some of you have been hitting me up on Facebook and asking me some questions about what do I think the country's going in with this Donald Trump. I think it's going to hell like you think it's going to hell. That's where it's going. No, I'm just kidding. We'll survive this. It's going to be a little bit challenging, but what do you do when you got a madman in the White House? It's just simple as that. So I think what I want to do today is that this is such a powerful subject. I'm going to kind of skip over the politics on the top end of the show, and I think it'll kind of wind in there. And so, was there something that you wanted to say? Well, I tell you what, why don't we do this? Carolyn, why don't you introduce welcome Carolyn. She's doing a show with us today. And why don't you introduce the guests and then talk about what's on your mind?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me here today. And I'm excited to be here because we're talking about a program called Africa Day, which is celebrated around the world on May 25th. But in Los Angeles, we're doing a special day called Africa Day LA with the Art of Living. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about that. But our guest today is Jameelah Carver, who is an executive and one of the senior teachers with the Art of Living and their foundation, as well as their program for human values. So
welcome, Jameelah.
Thank you.
Did I get that right?
You did.
So I told Jameelah, I would butcher up a name, and I don't even feel embarrassed when I do it. But go right ahead. Finish your statement.
The Art of Living is an organization that I spoke about last year. In March of last year, I went to New Delhi, India, at the invitation of Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, and all of you have seen some of the images from the World Cultural Festival. And if you haven't, you can go online and look under WCF, or World Cultural Festival, or the Art of Living. And the organization is dedicated to peace, meditation, yoga, and peace in the world. And the World Cultural Festival had the intent of celebrating peace in the world. And the reason that I wanted to have a conversation today about what was just announced by the person in the White House,
Little D,
is it is contrary to peace, to global humanitarian work. It is contrary to honoring the earth. And so I think we should have a conversation about that first, and then we can go into what's going on with the Art of Living.
Well, that's fine. I know we were going to tie it all together. Mm-hmm. I didn't. So how do you see this, Jameelah? How do you see this affecting the goals of peace in the world?
Well, the founder, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, speaks about, celebration, meditation, and dialogue being
Dialogue, yes.
the three components that can help, three solutions that can help with having peace, more peace in the U.S., given the state of our country right now. So being that Africa Day, it's a big celebration for the community to come together and celebrate Africa, which isn't done so often these days.
Yes, yes.
So it's a nice way for us to feel, we belong, that we are, remembering our roots and remember our richness, remembering our beauty, that's been forgotten a little bit.
I appreciate that. Carolyn, you mentioned that you honoring the earth and is a great part of this goal of creating peace. So tell me how you see what Little D, our president, has done that's going to that is impacted the impact of that.
Well, I believe we're all one, and whether it's animal, the walking human, the trees. I was in Santa Cruz last weekend, and I was reminded, standing in the midst of the redwoods, I call them our elders because they've been here 200 years and they've seen things and have been through things and are still standing in the earth watching over. So this global treatment of what's happening in the earth and the fact that Trump is talking about this being fake news and that it's not real. Global warming is not real. He must be in Trump Tower a little bit too long, or Malago, or wherever he goes, to not understand that the climate is changing. Icebergs are melting.
Yeah.
The solar caps are melting. It's impacting polar bears and life in that area. The waterways are shifting. So there are all of these things that are indicators that change is happening. Scientists, all the scientists agree, and all the countries agree with the exception of 3. And it does not make any sense. So I'm not understanding from a political standpoint why it feels like our entire country is being ignored. The voice of the people is being ignored. The voice of the scientists is being ignored. And it's a shame.
Well, I think today you guys can kind of push back on me and beat up on me a little bit. Because what I've been talking about a lot, we blame, and I do too, I talk about Trump. But Trump is just the mouthpiece.
Yes, he is.
You have tens of millions of people that support him and that support this ideology that we are not affecting our environment and the weather or whatever. And as long as he has that constituents that is supporting him, then the Republican Party. But at the base of it all, the poor fool that's supporting Trump is being used as a pawn because it's about money.
It's about
this
money.
way, the corporations, because you find out that you take the pipeline and Standing Rock. Well, when you really dig behind dig in the gutter, you find the Koch brothers. Well, the Koch brothers have more interest in that pipeline than any other corporations. And so what they're doing is fighting and paying senators off to not fight against this pipeline because it is about profit. And the profit and the corporations are involved in this. They're just using the poor fools out there that think that they're voting for this white hope to carry them through the white heavens that they're looking for. But this is what you get. And you get a Trump that is representing the major corporations, and that's what he's doing, along with Putin, because it's the same belief Putin has. Putin tea. Putin tea, I like that.
So I'm not going to push back because I agree that he's a figurehead, and it's a sad situation that we have. But I think one that he's going to be there for a short while, which is my hope and prayer. And at the same time, the country shall survive, and that there's something bigger that's going to come from this. So I think it helps with the awareness. Our young people are becoming more aware. of what they should be paying attention to.
So tell me this, what is the goal of Africa Day in LA? What is the goal here?
Well, it's a step, but main thing is bringing people together, bringing community together, to celebrate Africa.
Tell us a little bit about you. How did you?
Let me add to Africa Day, and then we can go to Jameelah. But
Okay.
Africa Day was actually began in 1965. And
65? Really?
1965, yes. It's been celebrated for many years now, over 50 now. And it started with the liberation of Ghana in 1958. And then over 7 years, between 58 and 65, an additional 17 nations were liberated from colonization. And with that, they all came together at different times. And in May of 1965, they said, we're going to declare this Africa Day, Africa Liberation Day. And then they went on to add several other nations that were liberated. But it's been celebrated since that time. But most of the celebrations have been in Africa. And they've expanded into places like New York and Washington, D.C., where there is a little more energy around what goes on with Africa and how we're stepping up. But it's being called into the present by Sri Sri, who's a world leader, and has, in fact, did a meditation with over 1 million people in Africa this year.
That was done this year, because I remember you talking about it. So, but tell us a little bit about you and how you got involved in all of this.
My mom is actually the person who brought me into all of this, because when I was growing up, I always thought that there was something bigger to life than just eating, sleeping, and watching TV, or just studying and things. I knew there was just something bigger out there, connecting with people, uplifting people, it's more spiritual, I think, and she knew that about me. Even my teachers knew that about me. So once she took the program through her church, Hillside.
And which program did she take?
She took the happiness program.
And now who's teaching these programs when you talk about she took the happiness program?
Great question. We have over 1,000 teachers in the country now. Back then, there was a handful, maybe 50 at most. And my teacher was one of those 50, and it was in Atlanta. And they were teaching at Hillside and Spelman and Morehouse.
What's the name of the organization that's supplying the teachers?
Art of Living Foundation.
That is the Art of Living.
It is.
Oh, wow. And all of this is right under my nose. I know about it. And I'm supposed to know everything that's going on.
Was Alice your teacher?
She was.
She was. Okay. Now, that connection is so wonderful because Alice and I met each other about 3 years ago. And she was my host when we went to New Delhi. She and her husband stayed. They escorted me every place with joy and love.
So when people come to this event, this coming, you told me it was
this Saturday.
This Saturday,
June the 3rd.
June the 3rd. Is there a website?
It is. theartofliving.org.
What should the people expect when they get there?
They should expect music, African drumming, African dance, incredible speakers that Reverend Carolyn can speak more about, and a panel discussion and a meditation for peace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we have 3 wonderful speakers. I'm very excited to have gotten them to say yes to be here. The first is Mimi Mbe, who's the honorary consul of the Republic of Senegal, who is located here in Los Angeles. And what the consulates do is, in addition to helping their constituents from Senegal, they also do economic development work in reaching out to this country and what they can do to collaborate with Senegal. So she'll be speaking about opportunities and the richness of Senegal and what's in Africa that elevates Africa in the minds of the people. and she's got business and investment relationships that she does. We also have a young lady named Didine Umanyani, and she is a child survivor of the Rwandan genocide.
Wow.
And she's written her story. She was actually separated from her parents at the age of 4 and wound up having an amazing story. And she's gone through school and has done a book called Embracing Survival. So she'll be one of the speakers. And then the third speaker is Linda Romano, who's the executive director of Jesse's Place, and she's actually been on this show before.
She's been on this show.
Yes,
you were telling me that.
Jesse's Place is in Rwanda. So we have some wonderful people. We have a speaker, Barbara Indagari, who is from Uganda.
Well, do me a favor. Tell those that are not familiar with Sri Sri a little bit about him.
I'll leave that to Jameelah.
Tell us a little bit. I am not as familiar. Carolyn has really taught me a lot about him and his teaching and the whole bit. But for those that is not that familiar with him, tell us a little bit about him.
Well, he's a humanitarian who his mission and vision is to put a smile on everyone's face. Very simple. A one world family. And for me, personally, he's a mentor. And for a lot of people, that's who he is because of all the work he does and the hours that he puts into it just to uplift lives. To us is very incredible. And like I said, my mom saw that in me, that's what I've always wanted to do in my life. And I saw somebody who is doing that. He's wants to do good for people, and he just does it without any thinking of what his needs are. And that's secondary. It's how can I uplift the planet? How can I uplift the world? How can I solve the issues that are in the world today? So that to me is the best way to describe him. I could say, his bio or his, the different things he's accomplished in a year, but I think the main thing is how much he inspires people to move into action.
If I had to ask you, as speaking to the little girl now when you were growing up, and did you see yourself as a little girl doing this, or is this something that you kind of graduated into spiritually?
I think I did as a teenager. When I experienced different things in high school with bullying. So I felt like there was
bullying.
Being bullied in school because I was a straight A student, and there was jealousy towards that, and I was very much into the books, and so then I was bullied. It goes on quite a bit, unfortunately.
She's a straight A student because she helped me to pronounce her name. Because you guys know I just put her name up in Jameelah. Did I get it correct?
It's close enough.
See that? Darn it, I got a B.
Yes.
But how do you see this, Carolyn, working into your global works and what you do on
well, thank you for asking that, because I know people are saying, now I thought she did stuff with Agape, and I do. And my ministry is Global Works, which is humanitarian outreach, interfaith and intercultural programs. And I also do educational programs in peace and nonviolence. So I was introduced to Sri Sri through the work I do with Global Works. And we play together really in the same field of humanitarian outreach and of knowing that there is oneness. And so it's the same principles. It's just a different way of expressing. So the work of Sri Sri in the Art of Living is more focused on meditation and yoga and movement. And the work at Agape is meditation, prayer, and music, and we speak.
Well,
it's very similar. In fact, Sri Sri and Reverend Michael know each other. They have been on the same platform speaking together. So I'm in great company with both.
So is this a goal of peace? Is what
it is.
Yes.
It's a goal of, well, I almost don't like to use the word peace because people have energy around peace, and they don't know what it is. They say they want peace, but I have watched, because I'm a very calm person, and when I go into a room, And people don't like to be still. Peace doesn't mean you have to be still and quiet. It just means you have to have that it's an inner thing that you're looking for. You can be outwardly dancing and singing, but be at peace.
But then what is it, Jameelah, that we are seeking? What is your definition of peace?
It's interesting that you just said that, Reverend Carolyn, because I think inner calm and outer dynamism is peace. That's what I would say.
Because most, like I said, peace is, I'm kind of crazy in the head. Peace has become like the word love,
Right.
It has been overused and used. And I, let me play devil's advocate a little bit. Is peace a religious concept? And does it exist as we have been preaching it? Anybody jump in?
I will say peace is a concept of nature. It begins with nature. You cannot grow anything without there being peace in the earth. The seeds get planted in a space where it's received and held in the dark, and then it grows up. Something grows out of the darkness into the light. So peace is through the waterfalls of nature, through the high mountains, through the flowers, through the trees. Peace is everywhere present to me.
Yeah, the reason I asked that, Jameelah, is that oftentimes we use these words and phrases in our culture, and they have this biblical subliminal attachment to it.
Yes.
And again, I know this sound like it's going to be a little bit off, but it'll tie in together. Because I'm studying a little bit of psychology and as a life coach. And I think it was the early part of this year, I'm with a group doing a continuing educational program. And they were talking about infidelity and cheating. And they follow me. And this is supposed to be no religion attached to therapy and psychology. But as I listen to them talk, and they say, well, a person can cheat on their partner by mental attachment to another or lusting after another. And then I say to myself, wait a minute. That's biblical. That's the same thing they say in the Bible. If you have sinned, if you lust after someone, Jameelah Carter was one of the most pronounced person that said it as president. He said, I lust after someone, so I've sinned. And they use this same principle in psychology. So, but if you talk to a therapist, they would never tie the two together. There are some that is watching this show, probably this is the first time they ever heard the two tied together and using that principle. So the same thing with peace. Could it be that one of the problems with using the word peace or phrase peace, that it has this biblical undercurrent to it? There'll be peace in heaven and peace to man and da-da-da-da-da, so it gets watered down. I'm just wondering, is there subliminal, subconsciously many of us pull away from the word because of that? What do you think?
I think it's true. The reason I say I don't like to use the word peace is because I have been a peacemaker for many years, and I know that's not the word that I want to use. Because the more I use it, the more I see people hesitant, because I think they think it's unobtainable. But it is attainable. And it may be because of that religious association with it, that they don't see themselves being at peace. And I also think people are shy of peace because they think it doesn't mean you can have any fun. And I'm a testament that you can be peaceful, calm, in order,
and have fun,
and have a fabulous time in the world.
Yes, I also think of it sometimes comes to a lot of people's minds of the hippie days when you say the word peace.
Yes.
That it's, peaceful.
Marijuana required.
Yes. It's not. Right.
Full intoxication is demanded. Yeah.
Right. And again, it's not that. It's having a peaceful state of mind and dynamic in action because your mind is so peaceful. Because most of the time, many times, most of us, we go out in the world and we have our work on our mind, our family on our mind, our different responsibilities are clogging our brains. We're unable to think clearly. So that's the type of peace I think we're speaking about, that peace of mind, that you have the ability, there's space in your mind to think clearly and make right decisions.
And that you don't allow the fear, the doubt, the worry that people are talking about, whether it's on the news or in your family or what you don't have, it's peace, doubt, lack. That doesn't become foremost in your mind. So when you have a place of peace, you can set aside the chatter that they call the monkey mind. You can set it aside and have something deeper informing you of how to live your life, which has to do more with love and joy and abundance and the things that we're capable of doing.
Yeah, well, when you look at the world now, because of when you're talking about peace, you have to bring in religion, and you're talking about chaos, you got to bring in religion. Well,
you don't have to.
Yeah, but how can you talk about peace and chaos in the world and not look at how much religion is playing a part? I mean, that's that white elephant in the room at all time when you're talking about the destruction. The reason I say that, when we're talking about peace, just go back a few years. Here's the thing. None of what we're seeing is new. This has been going on for many hundreds, if not a few thousand years. And so when you look at the chaos and the raping of the consciousness of people from their native source or spirit to disconnect them with a higher source and energy that they were born with, that no one had to give that to them. So when I say that, and you look at some of the chaos in human beings right now, a lot of it is based because of the religion that is influencing their culture. And in order to understand human beings as individuals, I truly believe we have to understand three things: their culture, their environment, and the religious aspect that they have. So when you understand that as an individual, but most important for me is to put a mirror up and understand how this is affecting me, my culture, my environment, and the religions that brought me up. So I'm stumbling a little bit, I'm bumbling a little bit, but because I'm so passionate about the chaos and what's going on, that's my phone buzzing and beeping and stuff. When you look at let's take Christianity, how when the church went into Australia, killed 90% of the people there, and the few 10% that was left, they come in and shove Christianity down their throat in the name of peace and civilizing people. The Native Americans come in. Because of Christianity, they was heathen, and we killed them all, and they're still suffering today behind this. And the Africans came over in a ship called Jesus. Hitler walked around, and his group had "God We Trust" on their belts and the whole bit. So religion still has that super duper hook in us, and we find it so hard to break away from it. And that's why I said, in talking about peace and moving forward, how do we deal with that?
Well, I'm going to jump in here because you're heating things up. And,
that's my job.
And all that history is true, but it's not right now. And what is done through the art of living and the work that's being done and the work that I do also in Agape is being in the now. And there's nothing more important in the now than your very breath. And the work, the art of happiness, is about our breathing. So I can't know what's in somebody's history and their culture and their environment. But I do know that if they don't breathe in and breathe out, they won't be here tomorrow.
That's a great point. There's no question about that.
So the intention and the focus around the art of living is breathing and breathing exercises. And it allows you to manage your world right in that moment. And this is so powerful. And in fact, there's a program called the YES program, the Youth Empowerment program in schools.
It's absolutely amazing how many programs you can just roll off the top of your head. It's just like I can roll off 3 programs, the NAACP and the Republican Party. But anyway, go ahead.
The Youth Empowerment teaches young people that all of this can be going on. I think what you said is so powerful, because that is the chatter that's in the air. That is the concern that's in the air. It's about religion and guns and all this other stuff. But children are going to school every day concerned about their mothers and fathers fighting, maybe not having a meal. Some are homeless, all of this. And they're dealing with a day-to-day situation that has nothing to do. Some may pile on religion, but their life is just, am I going to have my next meal? Where do I sleep? And this program of breathing helps them maintain their life, helps them in who they are. And Jameelah, you might want to add to that of teaching values, of teaching the power that they already have. It's really what you said earlier. We have an internal power that we're born with. And our very breath is a connection to that deeper power of who we are.
You wanted to elaborate on that?
Sure, I can. I thought about a few things when you were speaking about the YES program, and that's exactly what happens. The students feel connected with themselves, not so bothered by what other students are saying, which is why I dove right in, because of what I went through in high school.
Because of the bullying.
So, and also you feel more connected with your peers, people you don't typically speak to, because in school there's certain groups. That even happens with adults. But in schools there's certain groups that you hang with. And, after this program, the students feel connected with people they would not have spoken to before. So the more you're connected with people, the less boundaries you have, the less judgments you have, because you actually get to know people on a more personal, deep level that you wouldn't typically have the chance to do.
I'm fascinated with inner dialogue. So that's my whole, as a life coach and studying a little bit of therapy and psychology that I'm doing. I'm fascinated with the dialogue, because often the chatter and the confusion and the chaos is up here.
It's in there.
It's up here. And it's not so much as external, it's internal, but the external influence the chaos of the inner dialogue. And when I talk about reaching people from different religious aspects, like the breathing, I think that is just beautiful. If you could get some of the people that resist this type of teaching, more and more people that feel that this is the devil, this is, and I give you a perfect example. I'm from Mississippi, okay. I come up out of them churches down there, and when I first came to California, I was introduced to Buddhism. And well, when I first went from Mississippi, I never heard anybody talk about chanting. I never heard anybody talking about let's meditate, smell some candles and incense and hit a bell. I mean, that was some voodoo shit. I'm just calling it like it is. Yeah. I'm not well, so y'all got to help me here. Okay, Grenada, you know what I'm talking about. And so when I had a girlfriend here take me to this house and I pull my shoes off and I go in there and somebody hit a bell, ping, and go on, and some incense, smelling some incense, and go on some numb your. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell is this woman got me into here? These some heathens. I'm like, where's Jesus? These people are. I'm going into the Jim Jones occult here. But that's. I'm being very serious. So, but how do we have to find a way to kind of snap that inner dialogue from blocking us of being open to the breathing techniques and stuff, because I know I'm silly. You was about to say something.
No, as you're speaking, I thought all the same stuff when my mom took the course, because she took it first, she took the program first, and I said to her, you actually paid someone to learn how to breathe. You're doing that every day, Mom. What have you gotten into now? Yes. So I understand everything you're saying, and also the religious aspect. All of that came to my mind as well. But seeing the difference in her as the time went by, she was not affected by me. She was more present, which Reverend Carolyn said, being in the moment. Things didn't bother her as much. She was I don't know, lighter and her
Centered.
face looked brighter. Centered, yes, perfect word. So just seeing her over a few months, I ended up asking her, so what was that course you?
Yes. How much does it cost? Right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And you a mother yourself, right?
I am.
How old is your baby?
4 years old.
A girl or boy?
Boy.
Boy? Mm-hmm. Is he centered? It's all
As
over
much
the
as he
place.
can be at 4.
He's definitely a mover.
Yeah.
So,
That's
as
what
someone
yes.
that is a teacher in this course, and you are a mother, what are some of the things that you say to your child that you're willing to share in moments of pushback?
You know, as a teacher of this, I actually let him be my teacher. That's what I've learned. Like that he's teaching me more so, and it goes much more smoothly when I'm learning from him.
I
Now,
love
that's-
that.
Sounds, but yeah, that's what I've noticed. I mean, kids are carefree. They don't think so much. They're 100% in their feelings. If they're upset, they're upset. If they're happy, they're happy. If they're excited, they're excited. They're just 100% with everything. So once it passes, it passes. You know, with adults, we get angry, we hold some back, and it builds up. Any emotion, there's a little bit of holding back. So I think that's something beautiful we can learn from children, of just being completely with it, and it passes. Just being in the moment. Once again, bringing
So
it up.
yeah, I love that. So what are some of the age groups that come to your class?
It's anywhere from 3 years old and up, actually.
Really?
It is. Yes, we have a program for 3 to 7 year olds, and then the Art Excel program, and then the YES program. The Art Excel is from 8 to 13, and then 14 through 17, and then we have a college program as well, and then adults.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you allowing children to be themselves and not try to control how they feel in the moments that they're feeling whatever that is, and kind of be like a support system around them going through that wave. Because I agree with you to a point, if I'm hearing you correctly. Anger, hurt, and pain, oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes, it's just a wave. And we as adults, we'll catch that wave. We want to ride it all the way. You know, we want to, bam, we become professional surfers. I'm pissed, and damn it, I'm going to ride it all the way to shore, you know, where the kids might just jump off in the middle of it and say, not worth it, I want to go have a lollipop or
Exactly,
something.
yes.
Yeah, because those issues, we keep carrying stuff because it's often never been expressed. Our parents did not let us express emotions. It's part of what I do in schools and teaching mediation, to actually teach that we have emotions, that they're a natural part of who we are, that getting angry, being sad, being happy, being irritated, they're all part of our reaction to the world. And we just have to be conscious that it happens, and don't beat somebody up because they might even be bored. And sometimes people are bored, they're sitting there, and somebody may come up to them and think that, what's wrong with you? And there's nothing wrong with them. They're just in that moment. But you can make something of it.
You see, I like that. You know what you just said, that when you're sitting there in a space of your own, whatever it is, and people looking at it from without,
With their opinion on top.
and then they come in, and the first thing they ask you, what is wrong? They never come to you and ask you what is right.
Yes.
And you know, that's a fascinating way to look at it, because and when I'm saying that, I remember my kids or other people in your life, someone you care about, they're sitting somewhere and could just be in deep thought, and the first thing we go, well, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. and talking about that, I have found with myself, trying to get away from making people right or wrong, even when we disagree. I think the right and wrong phenomena is really just beating the culture to death. Because if I disagree with you, you take it as I don't like you. And you disagree with me, I take it as you don't like me. But if I agree with you, I take it as, you take it as he likes me, or he care about me, and they like me. And it's because we get caught in this vortex, being sucked down in who's right or wrong. And I have come to the conclusion, and I'm not kidding when I say that, I just don't know anymore. You know, I thought by the time I got to be the age that I am, that I would know everything. A few weeks ago, just a few weeks ago, I knew everything. Now, I didn't say everything. I said everything. I knew everything until November 8th. I found out I ain't know shit. Excuse me, I ain't know nothing. Wasn't that when the voting thing came in?
That was when, yes.
I found out, whoa.
November 9th, you mean?
Oh, it was it November 9th?
Well, we voted.
I've been traumatized ever
We
since.
voted on the 8th, but it's the 9th that we all came in shock.
I've
So,
been
yes.
traumatized. And you will not hear Larry say, well, I know this, that, and the other. You will hear me say, I have my opinion, I have thoughts on it, and but I don't know. And I like that concept of I'm playing and being a little bit laughing at it, but I really have gotten to the point that I am willing to accept that I don't know.
Well, actually, meditation takes you to that space of openness. And before I respond to that, let me remind people that we're talking about a program called Africa Day LA. This coming Saturday, June the 3rd, it's the Art of Living Center on West Adams Avenue, and it's from 1 until 4 p.m. And you actually can sign up ahead of time. It's free, open to everyone, but we'd like you to register so we know how much food should be available. The food isn't free. There will be vendors.
There's some actually donated.
And there's
some of it is actually donated.
Oh, wonderful. That's even
free
better
food?
news.
Hey,
Yes.
I'm there, man. You know.
And you can sign up at africadayla.eventbrite.com. So, got that all out?
Yes.
Yeah, you did. You know, in celebrating Africa, and please, I don't want no Christians, no Jews, no Muslims. Okay, you guys gonna call me on it anyway.
Well, they all show up.
Well, but what I'm about.
Everyone is welcome.
Oh, yeah, I know everybody's welcome,
Yes.
but what I'm about to say is may shake a few trees with a few people,
Okay.
and a lot of when you're looking at celebrating Africa, and we're celebrating the culture and the rich history that created us all, which is the foundation of civilization as we know it. But part of the ancient African culture, going all the way back to the Egyptians and the whole bit, we was talking about chaos. A lot of the religious belief came out of a few principles, and the principles was inner dialogue, because what is going on in yourself and the voices in your head was given titles as different gods and different leaders and different holy men and holy women. But that was in your head. This is the peacemaker that's in your consciousness. And celebrating Africa, I just wanted to throw that out there. So, you know, do a little research on some of the history of how some of the religious beliefs of African culture came from. They weren't talking about someone coming out of the sky with a sword on a cloud dripping with blood. They were talking about you inside and how you have a peacemaker to bring your own consciousness in line to bring about the peace that you're talking about. You had a young man from, God, I think it was Uganda on the show.
Who, Frederick?
I think it was with Frederick. He was with Frederick, but he made a statement that I never forgot. And he said one of the African belief system in psychology is that I am because you are.
Yes.
Now that is one of the most
Ubuntu.
beautiful.
Ubuntu, yeah.
That's the Ubuntu phrase.
Ubuntu.
I am because you are. It's a South African.
I love that
celebration.
phrase. I love that phrase.
Yes. So I wanted to also add that the art of meditation, the people may not do it. They do it naturally. If you ever look at a 3-year-old sitting in the sand or sitting with a leaf, they sit and they wonder. And they give themselves to something deeper. And they see the beauty of a little leaf, or they watch a caterpillar. And so there should be no fear in meditation. there should be an understanding that it just opens us up to something deeper. And quite honestly, I'm because I came through a religious background, I know that the teachings of Muhammad and Jesus and the other avatars, they all meditated. Jesus meditated, went by the water,
Went to the mountaintop.
left the disciples, and went different places to be still. And one of the most important passages in the Bible, I feel, is be still and know that I am God. So meditation is not defined by religion. It's defined by your innate connection with the divine.
Did you want to say something?
That was beautiful.
That was really, really, really beautiful, and it's so serendipitous. This conversation. This is because with someone else that is dear to me that we've been talking about meditation lately, and I've been talking about chanting, and because I still chant. I still when I'm in my private in my moments. And because it breaks up the chatter in my head and allows me to just calm. And I think that is a beautiful thing, to just bring meditation more and more to the forefront, where people can not be afraid of it.
Don't be afraid. In fact, the artists in the world, the musicians in the world, the mathematicians in the world, all have to go into that inner space of meditation to connect with something and bring back the music. They bring back the art. They bring back love.
See, there's that word, love.
Yes.
So how were you when you first accepted meditation?
How old was I?
Yeah, coming from a religious background, and at some point you had to, like you described, there was some point like, okay, meditation is
19.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think I was little later than that. I was a little bit stubborn. I still had that. I was the Bible was chasing me. I'm waking up in the middle of the night and the Bible floating all over me, and leaves of the Bible slapping me in the face. No, you don't do no meditation. It's all about anyway. But no, I've come to. But I used to do martial arts, kickboxing, a whole bit. And that was one of the things that you had to do, is to stay calm, meditation, and Buddhism was the starting point for me. What was the starting point of meditation for you, Kel?
I was pretty young. I was about 8, and I remember going into. I was waiting for a friend who was going to Catholic school, and I used to wait in the cathedral, and I enjoyed sitting there and looking at the stained glass windows and the candles, and I like being by myself in the stillness.
So, with the African Day in LA, there's going to be plenty of music.
Yes.
Plenty of.
We have African drummers and dancers. We have a couple of singers that are coming in.
Now, where's it located?
Speakers.
Give us a location.
The Art of Living is.
Oh, the Art of Living.
Art of
I'm
Living
sorry.
is
That
948
is a location.
West Adams Boulevard.
Duh.
It's near the corner of Hoover. And if you know the LA area, it's near the USC campus. So just think it's only 2 blocks from Figueroa. And all buses lead to West Adams and the Art of Living. So you can come by bus, train, come early if you are driving, because parking is often limited. Or I should say, it's unique parking situation.
It's a unique parking
Yes.
situation, meaning it's tough.
It's tough because there are a lot of students in there.
But it's worth it.
Yes,
It's worth it.
Definitely worth it.
And you're supporting youth,
Yes.
and that's the whole thing.
Or come and bring a friend and take Uber.
Yeah, take Uber. That's
Yes.
that's a good one. Jarvis, how much time we got over there? We got about 3 minutes left. This has really been nice. You and Carolyn together, the both of you are so calm that you got me over there. I'm all nervous because you guys are calm and I'm like loud and boisterous and all of that stuff. And but I really appreciate the energy that you brought today. Don't be a friend of the show and come back. And I would love that you guys come back and talk about it. I'm sure Carolyn is going to be hosting a show on some of what happened, and I look forward to that. And so with 3 minutes left, I guess, why don't we, is it time to do the words of wisdom, or is there something else you want to add to this?
I just invite everyone to come out, experience this program. Africa Day LA is a time to celebrate culture. And this is the beginning of other programs that will celebrate culture at the Art of Living. And Africa Day will bring out the best, the diversity and the beauty of Africa.
I love that. So what we normally do here, at least what I do, Carolyn has her own.
I do the same
beautiful. She does the same thing. Well, so we both agree, because this seemed to be a very good, great part of the show that we both of us enjoy. Give us words of wisdom to close with. Just a few words of wisdom. We got a few.
Be yourself, because there's only one you, and you're made to do something beautiful and powerful in the world.
I love that. Thank you so much for this. Carolyn, you want to give us a couple of words of wisdom before we?
I would just say, be open to the idea of meditation and breathing, because we breathe every day. Let's find ways to breathe that bring us inner peace and understanding.
I so appreciate it. This has been such I needed this peaceful show today, because I've been angst up all week, and then you women come in here with all this so easy and calm thing, and I'm like looking for an argument and not getting it. I'm pissed to the highest pistivity. That's my brother created that word. I'm pissed to the highest pistivity to you, Bobby. Anyway, and those of you that kind of shuffle and reject meditation, they're not speaking to those of you that necessarily that does this and understand it. But let me say this to those of you that have a little rejection to it, that is watching this show about meditation. I grew up in the South, Baptist and Christian and the whole bit, and I was afraid of anything outside of that could destroy my belief system and take me to hell. And that's how it was. But it's so not true. Because meditation, we talk in the terms of peeling the onion. That's kind of violent. We take some turn of pulling the bricks off and tearing down the wall. That's kind of violent. Meditation is unfolding. It's unfold. It's the unfolding and moving away some of the pressures that you're going through in your day-to-day activity. It does not take away from whatever your religious or spiritual belief is. It adds to it. Yes. Look into yourself, and you will see your own answers. Remember, a nation can rise no higher than it elevates its woman. Thank you. This is the Larry Yates' Show. I see you next week. And once again, Carolyn, thank you so much. Jameelah,
yes.
Thank you so much. See you next week. She looked nothing